foster homes would no longer accept me. So DCF had no other choice but to place me in staff secure, lockdown facilities, right? I would still manage to run away from these staff secure lockdown facilities. I ended up being sent to a program in Springfield, ran away from there, and then I ended up in Connecticut.
Okay.
With my grandmother. So I ended up in Connecticut with my grandmother at this time because I ran away from the program, and then the program came to get me, but my grandmother stepped up like, listen, I'm the grandmother. I don't know what's going on here, but he has family. He has somewhere to go. And they took me, DCF gave custody of me to my grandmother in Connecticut. So now at the age of 12, I'm living in Connecticut. And at this time, I still got a lot of animosity towards my real father, because my real father was there, but he was only there in money. He wasn't there in time. He wasn't there in spending quality time and showing me and taking me out to the movies. Everything was about money with him. Here, money to my uncle, take him to the movies. Here, money to my uncle, go shopping. Here, money to his mother, get him what he needs. It was never, son, here, let me take you shopping. Let me take you. It was always, here, somebody else, so this is where I get introduced to the gang lifestyle. I was already introduced to the gang lifestyle. I just didn't have no understanding of what that gang lifestyle was into the age of 12. So at the age of 12, I start hanging out with the Latin Kings in Pinnacle Heights, New Britain, Connecticut. All right. And then the Latin Kings in Connecticut weren't like the regular Latin Kings like everywhere else. They were separate. They was different. They was charter because the manifest was Nelson Millet's manifest and it wasn't a KMC, a Chicago manifest. So I get introduced into becoming a Latin King at the age of 12. This is where I get introduced to crack the first time, bagging up dope. And this is where I smoked my first blunt of weed. But my first blunt of weed was smoked with a bunch of older Latin King members. They weren't just smoking weed. They were smoking oolies. And then they tell me what they were smoking was oolies.
What is an ooli?
So ooli is a blunt laced with crack.
Wow.
So you got oolies and diablitos. Diablitos is a blunt laced with coke, sprinkled with coke. Oolies are blunt laced with crack. Okay. They smoke different. They smell different. But the first time I ever smoked weed was the ooli. It wasn't a regular blunt. It wasn't a regular. And it was with a bunch of older Latin King members in Connecticut who were bagging up dope. And this is, we sitting in the living room and watching. And he's like, says to me, here, you want to learn how to do this? He's like, I see you on probation to be a king, you baby king. He's like, oh, you king, what you know about me? And this is how that life was introduced. I was like 11 and a half, almost. I wasn't even 12 years old yet.
Okay.
And what happened was that I was outside playing football with a couple of the neighborhood boys. And then one of my friends didn't show up. So I had to go to his house to go look for him. And when I went to go to his house to go look for him, this is what was going on at his house. So at that time, I see a lot of young kids talking about they was either Latin Kings, 20 Love, or Solid. We don't know that these are gangs. We just know that people are claiming these things and people want to be part of these things. So I want to be part of something too. Mm-hmm. And it just so happened to be that the people that I was around were all kings. So now I'm in this house and they sitting there bagging up crack, bagging up dopes, fingers of dopes, bundles of dope. That's when they were selling the bundles for $50 and you would get 10 in the, Mm-hmm. And so I'm 11 years old. Don't know nothing about these drugs. Don't know that they could kill me, nothing. All I know is that I walk into the house and they got piles of crack, money, weed, and, and they're all Latin Kings up in there. One conversation led to another, and it led to him showing me how to break up the crack, how to bag it up. And then them passing me a blunt that was an ooli. I smoked oolies from the age of 12 until like 18, 17 when I caught my first adult bid. And then I went 12 years. I had 12 years sobriety. And then I had just relapsed a couple years ago when I got stabbed. But we'll get to that later.
Okay.
Scars podcast where the truth never lies.